It started with Elliot Friedman going out there and revealing the details on Twitter that Mason McTavish and the Anaheim Ducks were closing in on a 6-year extension with a $7 million AAV. Now, some of the responses to this were pretty, let's just say, ticked off. There was an element of annoyance in the way that this information was presented. So McTavish held out to take a sweetheart deal. No one offer sheeted more than that. Teams are hesitant to offer sheet in the Gavin McKenna draft. Also, without getting to absolutely stupid levels, the Ducks were going to match. There was no sense in burning a bridge for no reason. And this was later confirmed by the Anaheim Ducks themselves. They posted an article on their website. The Ducks signed Mason McTavish to a 6-year contract. Center signs through 2031 season after leading the Ducks in goals and power play goals last season. Pretty nice graphic over here too. High yellows and a lot of flair. Mac T signed 8-year contract. 8-year contract? No, 6-year contract. Excuse me, I'm blind. But the Ducks have signed center Mason McTavish to a 6-year contract through 2030-2031. 22 years old, he had 140 points with 170 penalty minutes in 229 career NHL games with Anaheim. And in the most recent season, McTavish set single-season career highs in points, 52, goals, which was 22, assists 30, shots 180, and time on ice per game 1653. Among Ducks leaders, he led the team in goals, power play goals, and power play points, while finishing second in scoring and face-off win percentage, just barely above 50%. And he was also third in assists. He reached 50 points and 20 goals for the first time in his career, becoming the 5th youngest Ducks skater to score 50 points in a season. He also became the second player in club history to score 50 goals before turning 21, joining Paul Kariya. So, yeah, that's a pretty good name to be linked alongside of in Ducks history. Not saying that I saw the big T, Mac T. My mind automatically defaulted to Trevor Zegras, but not saying that Mason McTavish is going to automatically become the next Paul Kariya, but there is an element of stardom that is placed alongside of this profile. Mason is a key part of our team, and we're excited to reach a long-term agreement that reflects his importance to our future, said Pat Verbeek. He's a highly skilled, physical, and competitive player who plays the game the right way. Mason has already made a significant impact at a young age, and we're confident he'll continue to grow into a top player as we build towards sustained success. The article then has some quotes from McTavish over here too. Today is an exciting day for me and my family to commit my long-term future to the Anaheim Ducks. I believe in the direction of this organization and the group we have in the locker room. We're building something special, and I want to help this team take the next step towards becoming a consistent playoff contender, and ultimately a championship team. The article then has a bunch of other achievements, World Junior success and other stuff that he did in Europe, because Mason McTavish has had quite the decorated career so far, being drafted in 2021, but all the stuff that he did beforehand, he played in Switzerland because of the COVID shutdown year, then he made the NHL for a little bit. He had a 9-game stint and also played in the AHL the year after and then became a full-time Duck the years after that. McTavish is very good, which is why a lot of folks were going out there and debating whether or not an offer sheet was actually on the table. But it is quite ridiculous in my mind just how scared teams seem to be about losing out on Gavin McKenna. A lot of teams didn't want to bite the bullet. They weren't willing to take that risk. Hey, there's an offer sheet to be had. Oh wait, sorry, we don't want to go out there and do that because just in case we suck, we might get Gavin McKenna and the offer sheeted team might actually get our chance at getting him. It seems like so many teams are not confident in their own progression that the Gavin McKenna situation for 2026, it's kind of spooky. I'm thinking about it like, okay, where was that conversation like a year ago? Are you saying that the St. Louis Blues with both Broberg and Holloway were not scared on losing out on Matthew Schaefer or Michael Misa in the 2025 draft? Are you implying that Gavin McKenna is just so much better compared to everybody else that he incites fear that teams are going to be losing out on him? I don't know, man. Like, it's kind of difficult. Not to say that Gavin McKenna is not talented. He is, and I'd say that he probably is more talented than a Matthew Schaefer or a Misa or a Celebrini or whatever, but like, I'm just questioning, is he that much better that teams are all of a sudden not willing to go through with offer sheets? Now, at the same time, I understand this one. In this situation, the Ducks were going to match because, yeah, Anaheim had so much cap space, it was just not really worth it for teams to go out there and do that. But there are a bunch of other players that are available on the market and that could potentially incite some sort of a panic for teams. Now, I know Luke Hughes, he's not eligible for an offer sheet, so we don't need to discuss that. But there also were some discussions over here. McTavish wanted max term at $7 to $8 million. Anaheim offered 5 years at 5.5. McTavish is getting his desired AAV, and they compromised on term a bit, getting 6 instead of 8. I also do kind of think, if this was the contract, 6 years, $7 million AAV, I think anybody could have come up with that. Why'd you have to go out there into the end of September to negotiate this? This was a pretty reasonable deal for everybody involved. I find it hard to believe a young center who put up the numbers he could only get $7 million AAV, and that's the number that he wanted. Nyes and Mrtka just signed for more than this. He put up 50 points and is an RFA. Look at RFA deals, they're almost steals for their hockey teams. And that's why I reference to other RFAs that signed this summer. Eklund, for example, just put up 58 points and extended 5.6 by 3 after this year. Using other players as comparables is a good starting point, but people sometimes don't understand how much it will vary. So, say what you want about McTavish holding out, but it seems like this is a pretty good deal for everybody. I mean, McTavish, you can say that he has the potential to have earned a lot more than the contract that he got, but if this was the dollar amount that he was interested in, then I guess that's just kind of it, right? Like, he signed at the end of the day. He and his party were looking for that sort of long-ish term deal. They wanted $7 to $8 million, and that's exactly what he got. So, yeah, good on you, Mason McTavish, for sticking to your guns and holding out to get a reasonable contract. But at the end of the day, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How does this deal make you feel? And if you're a fan of the Red Wings or the Canucks or the Canadiens, what now? We were talking the entire time about these teams as potential destinations for a guy like Mason McTavish. There was a lot of people going out there and saying, oh yeah, Montreal, get involved, try to get Mason McTavish on your team. Detroit, try to get that center. Vancouver, can you get McTavish to play behind Elias Pettersson? But no, that's all done now. This guy is locked up. And I do kind of wonder if it was an alternate reality, let's say, with a different first overall pick projected in the 2026 draft, would any of these teams be interested in doing an offer sheet? Maybe trying to defy the cap space that the Anaheim Ducks had. Maybe you do the Jesperi Kotkaniemi thing, where you give an offer sheet that's just so darn high that the original team's like, yeah, we kind of don't want to match it. Not that we can't. We can, but we just don't want to. It just doesn't feel right. There was always that possibility, I would say, amongst fans speculating what could have been, but this seems to be the outcome that we all so elegantly waited to happen. And I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Mason McTavish, everybody. If you're a fan of the Red Wings, Canucks, or Canadiens, let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about this offer sheet situation? Now that McTavish is off the market, are you just going to have to stick with whichever second-line centers you got? I know for Vancouver, Filipito's looking pretty all right. Montreal still believing in Kirby Dach, and in Detroit, Marco Kasper's looking pretty good. But with McTavish off the market, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Likes help with the algorithm, so do comments. Dislikes, please give us some dislikes if you did not like this video. I hope you enjoyed, though. Social Troll 99, and bye.